Good morning YouTube, hope you are doing well. This is the first video of my photo shoot prep. So I thought I would document a little bit of the lead up to the photo shoot, what kind of things you do as a fitness model to prepare for your photo shoot. Maybe somebody out there will benefit from this, I don't know. But as you guys love food, I thought I would show you what my breakfast is. It's actually nothing new. Like, it's pretty much exactly the same as my normal breakfast. However, instead of this being 120 grams of oats, it is now 100 grams of oats. And that's the only difference. Madness. Basically, with my diet, I'm just going to be reducing down the carbohydrate sources. It makes things a lot easier. It makes, you know, I don't have to do much thinking about it. I'm quite busy during the day, so I don't have to think about what my next meal is going to be. I just already know. And so my food's not actually changing too much either. My calories obviously have to change, but they're not going super low. I've got 8 weeks, so it doesn't have to be super aggressive. But I'm going from my 4,700 to 5,000 calories a day, just down to 3,700. So a 1,000 calorie deficit is quite a lot, but majority of people would think about 3,700 calories and be like, are you even dieting though? Which a lot of the time it doesn't feel like it, and to be honest, I'm probably gonna enjoy this a little bit, having a little bit less food to eat, because it does get a little bit tough, but also just a little bit uncomfortable on the digestive system. So hopefully the break will also benefit my digestive system. There may be some days where I literally am like, look, I just don't want to eat, and I might just reduce down food even further. I haven't decided yet, but the thing that you run into more likely if you create an even bigger deficit than needed is muscle wastage, which obviously we don't want to do. We've spent all this time making the muscle. We don't want to go into a diet and lose the muscle. But all of that being said, the chance of muscle loss, as long as you're training properly and your protein is adequate, should be minimal, as long as your training is correct. Okay, so I'm gonna have this breakfast, and then we'll talk a little bit more later on. Maybe even a bit of training today. I need a haircut, so the hat is gonna stay on throughout this probably whole video. But I thought I'd talk a little bit about muscle retention when you're dieting. So what to take into consideration, what to focus on when you're going into a diet in order to hold on to as much of that hard-earned muscle. Now, majority of the time you hear people change up their training. They start doing high rep, very light high rep exercises, which like it doesn't really work like that. Like in when you get into a competition prep, in the very late stages of competition prep, that might be a slightly better idea to do, because you're going to be reducing down the actual amount of load which it goes through your tendons and your joints and things like that. So those areas become very sensitive to high weight during your prep, because you've got less basically less lubrication around those joints, because your body fat and internal fat is so low. So with your normal training, you want to keep it normal. Like, you want to still be progressing heavy weights, pushing your strength, because that's what's going to be able to tell your body that, okay, we need to hold on to this muscle, because look, there's all this heavy load which we need to still be able to manage. Okay, then food, that's also going to be a very important factor when we're thinking about holding on to a muscle. Food is going to be spread throughout the day. Now, a lot of people go into intermittent fasting, which is okay when you're in the first sort of stages of a diet, but when you're getting into that low body fat percentage, it will have an impact. Now, loads of people say it's your overall protein, it's your overall calories, which yes, to like an extent it is, but when you get into those finer points of a diet, then you need to have regular protein feedings to boost that protein synthesis, and you want to have regular calories going in to be able to fuel you to be able to be productive and train properly. Which brings us on to the next one, which is peri-workout food. So that means pre, intra and post workout food. So you just saw my breakfast, which is my pre-workout meal, which is basically the same except for 20 grams of oats. Now, ideally, well, in the ideal world, you'd probably keep your peri-workout as similar as you can for as long as you can, but without that affecting the regular protein feedings and regular food throughout the day. So, for example, me, I'm going to keep my intra-workout exactly the same. My post-workout and my pre-workout has had a slight tweak, and my post-workout has had a slight tweak, but it's like what, 10 grams of carbs here, 20 grams of carbs there, you know, it's not massive. So those are two things to take into consideration when you're thinking about your nutrition and your training when you go into a diet, because we want to hold on to this muscle, you know, it's a long time, it takes a long time to build it, and we want to hold on to as much of it as we can. So apart from changing my food up slightly, the only other changes that I'm making are I'm going to be making sure I hit 10,000 steps a day. Normally that is very easy for me. Normally I have to make an effort not to walk so much, because in the job that I am in, it's very easy for me to spend all day walking around with clients and things like that. So yeah, no actual changes to like cardio. I'm not actually increasing cardio a ton. It's just simply 10,000 steps, which I think most days I'm normally like 8 to 10,000 anyway, but I'm just making sure that I hit that number for this week. And then as things change, I may add in more steps or I may add in some cardio, but we will see. It is a lovely day outside, so I might actually do some additional steps later. We will see if the weather holds up. But the thing is, when you start a diet, this is a little bit different because it's only 7 weeks, but when you start a dieting phase, you don't want to use every single tool in your arsenal. So you don't want to just do hours of cardio, drop your calories loads, because you want to use those as tools, steps as well. So if you were to do all of those things straight away, you'd have nothing to add later on. So keep that in mind. Let's go train. Welcome to the workout portion of this video. Hope you guys are enjoying the video so far. And I thought I would talk about a little topic which of course is fairly relevant in this video, which is training in a deficit. Because this is the first deficit training session that I have had in about 6 months, where I ran my last mini cut, and then before that I think it was probably close to 9 months, if not more than that. So it's been a pretty long, pretty successful off season, but training in a deficit. So I mentioned previously that you can sort of reduce down the weight and increase the volume. Now it's a little bit of like a way around still moving the same amount of weight. So as we know, the total volume load that is moved is the progressive overload. So if I'm using 50 kilo dumbbells here and I get 5 reps, that is 250 kilos moved, right? So later on down this deficit, if I can't get those 50 kilo dumbbells up, and I go down to, let's say, if I did 25s for 10 reps, then I'm basically doing the same, I'm matching the same volume. So yeah, you get the picture anyway. As long as the weight is matched or increased, we're not going to be losing very much muscle. Obviously there is always a small amount of muscle lost when you're in a prolonged deficit, especially if you're in an aggressive deficit, but it will minimize it. Now this machine, I've seen so many people put massive amount of weight on this, on a similar machine, and I'm struggling to get over 100 kilos on this. And I've seen people do 100 kilos a side on an incline hammer strength. Now, I was fortunate enough to try out the incline hammer strength in another gym, and my God, is it a hell of a lot easier than this machine. So I feel a little bit better about myself, because I've seen people do very much heavier weights, and I was looking at similar machines and getting a little disheartened. But it brings me to my next point, which is you shouldn't compare. Firstly, you shouldn't compare yourself against other people, that's a given, but you shouldn't compare things that you can't actually fully compare. So if a machine is a different make, it's not going to be the same sort of movement. Same as if someone that's trying to lose weight is on 3,700 calories for me, and somebody else that wasn't me looked at that and was like, okay, I need to eat 3,700 calories to lose weight, they will not lose weight, most likely, like most people, unless you were similar to me and you had a fairly good metabolism. Now, you can't compare unless it's comparable. Same as this machine, like cables vary a lot. The right hand cable on this machine sticks quite a bit, which is really annoying, but you can't. This is Gavin. He's a man from my gym that just loves to interrupt my my gym footage, and a couple of times he's got his arse out, and that time he decided to straddle me instead. But anyway, that's Gavin for you. I will continue. Try not to get distracted by Gavin. Lovely man. He's a single father. What's the word? Single parent father, and an absolute legend. But he does like to disrupt the videos a little bit. Anyway, getting back onto the topic. So comparing the comparable. Similarly, you shouldn't really compare your strength to other people's strength, even on their age and weight, because people's limb lengths are different lengths, which is going to also impact that quite a lot. And if you were to compare something simple like a bench press, and somebody's got very short arms with somebody that's got very long arms, the long arms is going to spend a hell of a lot more time in the negative portion because they've got longer to go down. Similarly, a deadlift as well, same sort of thing. If you've got long arms and short legs for a deadlift, you're going to have a very easy time taking that off the ground because it's got a lot less distance to go. Rather than people that are very tall with very long limbs, deadlifts are going to be hard. So if you had very long legs and shorter arms, like a T-Rex, you're going to struggle to do deadlifts.
Hello again. Okay, so a pre-warning. I'm going to be in my boxers. I'm going to show you the starting position of this 7-week diet or 7-week cut for the photo shoot. Now, I'm by no means fat, like obese, but I'm holding quite a bit of fat. So for us to be able to get into a photo shoot condition, I'm going to need to lose that. So this is the starting place. Now, ideally, I would have done this in the spin room in the gym. However, there was a group already in the spin room having a spin class, and although I posed in front of thousands and thousands of people, it's just a little bit weird to do it in front of a class, so I did not. This is the starting position. A lot of the fat is on the middle. anyway, you get the general idea. So that is the starting position. So lunch is as follows. We got rice, chicken, and some vegetables. Top tips for your vegetables if you want to taste real good is just cook them in the stock that the chicken breast is cooked in, or you can get a little bit of stock like this and put that onto your rice, but it makes quite a lot of liquid, so I'm not going to do that. But that is my next 2 meals, so pretty simple: chicken, rice and vegetables. Pretty bro, but at least you don't have to think, you know, you just be like, oh yeah, chicken, broccoli and vegetables. Now you may think this is gross, but it's bloody lovely. It's like chicken and vegetable soup. You only get a little bit of it, but it's delicious. Tip is to use salt and pepper. Now the reason I had so much liquid was because I cooked about 850 grams of chicken, just so I've got that throughout the week and I can just grab it. And protein sources like that, if it's something like chicken, I just cook it in batch a lot of the time, and then I just cook the carb sources, and that just generally heats up the meal a little bit. I'm not very fussy with food, like I can just eat. I'm pretty simple. Okay, it is a few hours later. I've had my second to last meal, which was the same as I had for lunch, and then I'm gonna have one last meal before bed, which is gonna be oats, protein powder, peanut butter and frozen fruit. But do you guys really need to see that? I don't think so. You're probably a bit bored of that now, so I'm gonna leave the video here. I'm gonna try and do this sort of like maybe 1 or 2 a week. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. Maybe 1 a week, just to log the process. We'll do some body comparisons over the weeks as it goes as well. Short disclaimer, because I have to be completely transparent with you guys. The physique update this morning is probably a little bit skewed, so let me expand on that. In order to get a nice transformation picture or video, you can influence it a little bit by just manipulating food. So yesterday I had a lot of sodium, I had quite a lot of water, I had quite a lot of food which I know doesn't really agree with me, like ice cream. I didn't go overboard on my calories, but I had food which I know doesn't agree with me and causes inflammation, so that the picture and the comparison pictures are going to be a little bit more impressive. Okay, so I may have looked a little bit fatter than I actually am, and tomorrow I'll probably look a little bit better condition than I did today, but that's just full transparency, so I thought I'd let you know anyway. So the people that did make it to the end of the video will know that. People that didn't at the beginning, they won't know that, but whatever. Okay, so that's another reason not to dip out of my videos and watch all the way through. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you have a lovely rest of your week. I'll catch up with you in the next one.